Another day where Patrick Mahomes is getting disrespected again. This time by NBC Sports NFL analyst Chris Sims. We'll show you what Sims had to say and react to it and more coming up here in just a matter of moments on this edition of the Kids See Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we get any further in today's show, folks, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of this. I'm exhausted seeing just all the strays that Patrick Mahomes has been taking this offseason. They called him fat a week ago. Now we're talking about his skill set, of all things, coming into question. If you love Mahomes and you're tired of the disrespect, show QB1 some love. Spam that like button. I want to get at least 500 likes to know, Patrick, we're with you. We're rooting you on. We believe in you. We know you're the best quarterback in the league, despite what the haters and losers say. Hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. Bulletin board material. NBC Sports' Chris Sims has disrespected Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes as he put out his annual QB rankings. And for just the second time in the last 6 seasons, Patrick Mahomes is not number one on Chris Sims' list. Let's show you who the top 4 are. Number 1 is Lamar Jackson, who did not win the MVP, did not play in the AFC Championship game, but he's number 1 on the list for some reason. Number 2 is the MVP of the league, who was in the AFC Championship game, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, but he lost to the Chiefs. More on that later. Then number 3, this guy had a fantastic season. And it wasn't all his fault. The defense was awful. He may have had the best statistics season of any quarterback in football this year. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals did not make the postseason, might I add. And then we find Patrick Mahomes, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4th on Chris Sims' list. Now, let's dive in, folks. The ranking is a bit disrespectful. Obviously. 4th best quarterback? You're kidding me. But it's not just the ranking here. It's the thought and the analysis behind Chris Sims' logic that I just find incredibly stupid. Let's start with this from Chris Sims, who said this. He's mastered winning. He's the ultimate winner. I know some people are going to say, isn't that the only point to win? Yeah, I get that. I know. But winning is not a quarterback stat. I know we like to put it there, and I take it there, and I take it into context, but it's not like, oh, he wins, he's number 1. Here's where I disagree with Chris Sims. Winning has to mean something. It has to matter. It's not the only thing, but it is the most significant thing. And Patrick Mahomes, above anything else, is a winner. Not only do I believe he is the most talented quarterback to ever play the game of American tackle football, but he is one of the greatest winners we've ever seen. And every time the Chiefs have need him to step up, he has delivered and got the job done. And when you compare to the other 3 quarterbacks that are ahead of him, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, he has beat these guys time and time again, including this past season, when it counts. Think about this, too. 0 for our Spanish friends. Super Bowl titles combined between Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. So you're telling me that you're taking all 3 of those guys who have no rings over Patrick Mahomes. To me, it's just silly. And this is coming from a guy in Chris Sims, who the greatest highlight of his entire career was getting Superman strip sacked by Roy Williams in the Red River Shootout when he was in college in Texas, and then he went on to have a mediocre NFL career. There's no credibility from Chris Sims whatsoever. Look, it isn't just the winning that Patrick Mahomes does. The resume is there. And when push comes to shove, there's no quarterback I'd rather have in any given circumstance. If you tell me and 100 different people out there, I got one game, what quarterback do I want to have to go out there and shine and deliver and win me that one game? Almost everybody and their mother. They're not saying Josh Allen. They're not saying Lamar Jackson. They're not saying Joe Burrow. Everyone's saying Patrick Mahomes. To put it simply, Chris Sims, he doesn't know ball, folks. So, Chris, you may be watching. Spam F Chris in the comments section. I didn't like his dad as a commentator either. Phil Sims was so obnoxious, too. The Sims family, get out of here. Spam F Chris in the comments section. He stinks. More to come here on the Kids City Chiefs Report, but spam F Chris first. A wise man with a 24-year-old girlfriend once said, "Stats are for losers. Final scores are for winners." That wise man was Bill Belichick, 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach. And the thing with Patrick Mahomes, obviously he's a winner, but contrary to the belief of Chris Sims, the stats are there too, okay? And I want to dive in a little deeper by what I mean by this. Sure, statistically speaking, Patrick Mahomes did not have as good of a season as Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow last year. I will give you that. But let's look at these games when he's faced these guys. Let's start with the 2024 AFC Championship game last year. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, spot in the Super Bowl on the line. What did they do when they faced off head-to-head in the biggest game of the season to that point? Mahomes had a higher completion percentage. He had more yards. He had a higher yards per pass attempt. He had 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen only had 2. And he had a higher quarterback rating, 111.9 compared to 104.7. So on that day, when it mattered the most, who came through? It wasn't Josh Allen. It was Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying Josh Allen played bad by any stretch, but Patrick Mahomes played better. Mahomes has played in 3 straight AFC title games, won all 3 of them, might I add as well. And he faced none other than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow in those 3 games. Now, let's dive in a little deeper. Of those 3 games, we showed you the statistics against Allen. Here is combined of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes of those 3 games, okay? The completion percentage difference. Mahomes, 71.3%. Those 3 quarterbacks in those 3 games, 60.7%. Now, they had slightly more yards, but you have to think, too, those guys were also playing from behind, so they needed some more yards, but only an 8-yard difference. Yards per pass attempt, talk about efficiency, Mahomes beat those guys. Touchdown to interception ratio, or turnover ratio, Mahomes 6-2, those guys 4-4. QB rating, 105.2 compared to 82.4. So not only did Mahomes in those 3 games win all 3 of those games against those 3 individual quarterbacks, he was statistically better in almost every major category than those 3 quarterbacks as well. Now, let me say this. Credit where credit's due. I like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. I think all 3 of them are fantastic quarterbacks that are going to be in Canton, first ballot Hall of Famers someday. And I have nothing against any of the 3 of them whatsoever. Their day in the sun will come at some point in time. I would be very shocked if we were sitting here 20 years from now and at some point Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, all 3, are not Super Bowl champions at some point in time. I do think they will eventually get over the hump. But at this point in time, it's not their moment. This is Mahomes' time. This is his time to shine. He's owned this league. He's owned the AFC. And that doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. More to come here at the Kansas City Chiefs report of the nonsense from Chris Sims. But first, let's ask you, my friends, who is the better quarterback? Please educate our little friend Chris Sims and tell him who the best quarterback in the league is. It's Patrick Mahomes. Spam those PMs. If you feel otherwise inclined for some reason because you don't know ball like Chris Sims, you can type LJ for Lamar Jackson, JA for Josh Allen, JB for Joe Burrow. Weigh in the comments section and tell us which way you lean towards. Folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we bring you our daily news and rumors, live shows each and every Tuesday. We have sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day. We're also bringing you interactive Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more. your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. If you love the Chiefs, this is the channel for you. The most interactive Chiefs channel on YouTube is the Chiefs Report. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. We are going to defend Patrick Mahomes till death do us part around here, folks. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. All right, let's hear more from the idiot. Chris Sims says this. He's the man, the myth, and the legend. He's one of the greatest I've ever seen and maybe the clutchest quarterback in football. Still, the quarterback play week in and week out, and I don't think that he would disagree with me here, has not been as high level the past 2 seasons as it's been for Burrow, Lamar, or Josh Allen. Now, here's what people like Chris Sims are ignoring and forgetting about. What's different about what Andy Reid and the Chiefs do compared to those other teams. And Chiefs fans, I don't have to educate you on this. You already know. When you watch Chiefs football in the regular season and you pay close attention to the play calling, it is a very vanilla offense. Andy Reid already knows this team is going to be competing when it matters in January and February. They do not play their hand and show too much in the regular season because they don't need to. And on top of that, not only does the offense not go to its full potential because you're not showing everything, the last few seasons we've seen a depleted skill position room with no Hollywood Brown this past season, no Rashee Rice. They struggled to replace Tyreek Hill and all that. You already know that situation, okay? Now, let's take it another step further. If you put Patrick Mahomes in the situations of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, with their weapons and with their play calling systems that don't hold back in the regular season, that care about every single game, and that they treat the regular season like their Super Bowl, because quite frankly it is, then Patrick Mahomes would do even better than those guys do at what they do. So it's not a fair thing if you're Chris Sims to compare and just simply look at the statistics and say, yeah, he's getting outperformed by these guys week in and week out. Well, he's asked to do something different, and he's held back a bit compared to those guys with the limitations and with what the system is in place around him. You look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers. Have they been down the last 2 seasons? Sure. 2023, when they won a Super Bowl, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 67% completion percentage, 92.6 QB rating. 2024, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks, 93.5 QB rating, 67% completion percentage, less than 4,000 yards passing. The QB rating numbers, the last 2 seasons, are the lowest of Patrick Mahomes' career. With that said, we are not naive. No one is denying that his numbers are down the last 2 seasons. We fully acknowledge that. But they don't tell the full story, okay? Let's dive in even further here down this rabbit hole. Let's look back at Mahomes' 2024 season. Record of the starter, 15-1. First in the league. Completion percentage, 67.5, 10th best in the NFL, and still a very good number even at 10th best. Passing yards per game, 245.5, 10th best. Yards per pass, 6.8, but who was he throwing the football to? Touchdown interception ratio, 26-11, 18th best. Passer rating, 93.5, 17th best in the NFL. All right? But look at that record, okay? And think about this. Here's the bottom line, folks. Mahomes, okay, he gets the most out of what he can with what he has to work with. The last few seasons since Tyreek Hill departed, you have not had much to work with in that receiving core. And Travis Kelce takes on so many double teams, that has limited your ability in the passing game. And yet he is still winning. And he is still the guy you want in crunch time. When there's 4 minutes to go, everybody knows what's about to happen next. Oh, and did I mention the poor offensive line play that we've seen too? Yeah, all 3 of those quarterbacks have had better offensive lines than Patrick Mahomes as of late as well. Do you believe in Patrick Mahomes? This feels like an easy question. You got two options here. Type B for believe, D for don't. I'm curious. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Got a great deal we're offering Chiefs fans right now. The Unstoppable Polos are on sale with free shipping at chatsports.com/unstoppable. We got all sorts of different sizes for you. Relatively affordable price for you as well at chatsports.com/unstoppable. Go check it out now along with the rest of the Chiefs merchandise that we're selling at that same link. It's chatsports.com/unstoppable to get yours today. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now, for the haters and the losers like Chris Sims that are saying, what happened to Mahomes? Why has he been down statistically the last 2 years, that are reading way too much into stats? I have good news for you, and really good news for everybody. I think that vintage Mahomes, the one that you've been wanting to see, that is truly the number one quarterback in football when he's at his best version. And I've already said he's the best quarterback in the league. You get the idea. I think that version that we know and love is coming back this year. Mahomes has already talked about how they want to push the football down the field more. They have the receivers to do it. All right? Chris Sims, here's more from his hogwash. I don't have to force the issue. I don't have to make this throw that Joe Burrow or Josh Allen might have to make because my defense is awesome and they're going to hold them to under 15 points. So I have a luxury right here of taking a chance and just throwing a ball into double coverage down the field, right? Or holding the ball too long in the pocket because, wait, there's somebody open, but now I want more. Let me see if I can make something happen. My defense will keep us in the game, right? None of that is true from Chris Sims whatsoever. That's not how Patrick Mahomes has played the game at all. In fact, what I would counter that to Sims' argument is that the version of Patrick Mahomes we've seen since Tyreek Hill left a few years ago has actually been a more disciplined passer who's not trying to force things down the field and taking what defenses give him. When I look at why I think things are going to be different this year, why you're going to see that vintage Patrick Mahomes, who's got the bulletin board material from guys like Chris Sims, who we've seen, nobody's better with a chip on their shoulder than Patrick Mahomes. There's two things that stand out to me of why we're going to see that version come back in 2025. The weapons are there, and the offensive line is also there as well to get that vintage Mahomes back. Here's what we're talking about, the skill positions. All right? Pacheco should be fully healthy and at full strength. Rashee Rice, fully healthy. He can be a top 10 receiver. Xavier Worthy, building upon how strong he was in the second half of last season. Hollywood Brown should take on a bigger role in this offense after he wasn't used much in the postseason after missing most of the regular season. Jalen Royals, there's a lot of excitement about. He could play in the slot and outside both. Travis Kelce, this might be his last hurrah. He's down 25 pounds. He's putting in the work. Noah Gray's coming off a breakout season in 2024. And then the offensive line situation, okay? All right? Jalen Moore or Josh Simmons, one of the two is going to start at left tackle, and that should be a massive improvement from the mess that was last year. Then at the left guard spot, you got three options. And I know that replacing Joe Tooney won't be easy, but whether it's Moore potentially moving over there or Kingsley or Caliendo, let the best man win. And I think the left side as a whole will see improvement. Not to mention I got the best center in football in Creed Humphrey. I got an all-pro caliber guard in Trey Smith back, which most people thought wasn't going to happen. And then Jawan Taylor, just stop getting called for penalties and you're going to be okay. I expect an MVP caliber season out of Patrick Mahomes. And I think statistically speaking, for those out there like Chris Sims that read too much into the numbers, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I think that you are going to see his best statistic year since at least 2022. Everything's in front of him. This offense has the makings to be able to score 30 points a game. And for those of you writing off Patrick Mahomes, you're making a grave mistake, and that includes you, Chris Sims. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video, show some support for number 15 himself. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.